Now, I know it's not that time when John Shepherd normally comes on, but he's here today because he's been for his vaccination this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, John.
Good afternoon.
How'd you get on?
No use lying about my age, is it? I'm a quartile or cohort, as they call it, which means I must be very old indeed. Anyway,
oh, you're keeping well. You're doing well for your age.
Right, I've been one of the first 5,000 people in this area of Weymouth and Portland to have received the COVID vaccination, and I had it this afternoon, and I have to say that it was seamless and painless. And the vaccination took place at Weymouth Hospital, and basically what you do is you turn up in your car, everything is timed almost to the minute, and when I arrived, there were 4 people in front of me waiting to be vaccinated. We went into a small marquee where the first thing that happened was that, having been checked off, our temperatures were taken by a young lady holding something which looked like a little hairdryer. And she sort of points it at your forehead.
Ah, that's an infrared thermometer, sir.
Is it, Joe?
Yes, it is.
Goodness me, well, you see, I'm so old, I don't even know what infrared is. So I know what a thermometer is, and it worked like magic.
Yeah.
And then I was passed through to the next, it's a little annex. And still behind 4 to 6 people, I was again checked, and of course, we have to make sure that our hands are sanitized, and we wear masks the whole time. So from the moment you sort of enter the car park, you are masked. And anyway, the vaccination itself, there were 2 vaccinators on duty, and basically just have to make sure that you can bear your upper right arm, which means a little bit of undressing in the cold weather. And the vaccination itself, well, quite honestly, I said to the person who was doing it, is that it? You know, you don't feel a thing.
Good. So pretty painless, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, my dad's been down there, and I took my dad down there. I was amazed. A lot of volunteers manning that vaccination centre, as well as the doctors and nurses, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, in Weymouth and Portland, would you believe there are 120 clinical staff and about 200 people working on vaccinations in total? Because, of course, I mean, you know, there are other places where vaccinations are taking place. I mean, there are doctor's surgeries, for instance. So, you know, it is a very big operation. And as I say, I have to stress, for anybody who's worried about standing in line in a queue, my experience is that I think I arrived just before 2:15, and I was out and about certainly by 2:30.
Now, I think, did they sit you down after the vaccination, my dad said? Is that right?
They did, but I was interviewing people, so...
okay, you were doing your hack bit.
I was leaping about, yes.
Okay.
Well, as much as I can at this stage, of course.
Yeah.
But,
nice people. What was the atmosphere like?
well, I mean, the thing is, you know, the propriety demands that you don't really talk to people around you, do you? I mean, so therefore, I didn't talk to any of the patients that were waiting, but I did talk to a few members of the staff, and very friendly, very determined, actually, to make sure that everything runs like clockwork. I mean, I had visions of, say, waiting in line, sort of like you do at a doctor's surgery, or in the old days when you sat in a dentist's waiting room, waiting, you know, for some time. No, it doesn't happen like that this time. Certainly not my experience. You're in and you're out. And I have to say that the people were extremely proficient, extremely friendly, and all you have to make sure is that you know your name and address and age.
That's fair
and
enough.
date of birth.
Even you know that.
Then you get your...
I got to say, even the car parking is all organised, and they tell you where to park. It's all free.
Yes, you receive your certificate, and so therefore I will be called again in however many weeks it takes. In terms of the numbers of people, if you receive the Pfizer vaccine, they can do 400 in a day, but if you have the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is what I had, there were 600 people that can be done in a day. Apparently the difference is that with the Pfizer vaccine, you have to wait between inoculations, or vaccinations for a few minutes. Whereas with the AstraZeneca vaccine, it's pretty much like a conveyor belt.
And but once you've had the vaccination, you just sit down there, make sure you're all right for a few minutes. How long do they keep you there?
Well, you're not supposed to drive, and the advice is to sit down for about 15 minutes.
To make sure there's no strange effects?
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you have the AstraZeneca inoculation or vaccination, I think you have to sit down for longer, and you are observed to make sure that you do sit down for longer. But as I say, that didn't happen to me.
And have they given you a rough date, John, of when you've got to go back?
Well, I think actually this is a bit of politicking about this, isn't there? Because some people have said that a 12-week delay is not necessary and it should be shorter. And I've got the idea that, in fact, that 12 weeks may actually come down to less than that time. But as far as I'm concerned, I was told 12 weeks today.
Well, they didn't ring my dad for the second dose, and I took him down there last Friday on the off chance, and of course they said, no, we're not doing the second vaccination now, it's been postponed. But they didn't even give a rough date, yeah.
But you will be telephoned.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing we ought to emphasise, isn't it? They will contact you. You don't need to contact your GP or 111 or anything like that. John, I'm glad you're okay.
I'm still fine, thank you.
Good. Well, keep us in touch, wouldn't you?
No, indeed.
How long will it take? Did they say roughly how long it would take before, it'll give you some sort of protection?
No, I didn't go into that, actually. I mean, you have to recognise that these people are working under a certain degree of pressure, so there's not a lot of conversation.
No, that's fair enough. Well, thank you for reporting for us as well, and good to know that you're okay and back at home safely, and stay safe.